All right, everyone. It is your boy Limitless Mike back with another podcast, Sports with Limitless. Today, I got a very special guest. He's definitely a legend in my eyes. He goes by the name of Marcus Chambers. He's a state champion, junior Olympic champion, former Oregon Duck, just a pro Nike athlete. He's done it all. He's from Tacoma, Washington. He's definitely done it all. So we're going to just sit down and chat with him. How are you doing today, Marcus?
And I'm good, my brother. Appreciate you having me on the show.
I definitely appreciate you coming on.
At 253, born and raised.
Yeah.
So glad you gave Tacoma that shout out. We need it out here.
Definitely. And since you are 253, you're a Tacoma boy. How was it for you coming up in Tacoma, especially on the sports side? Like, what was it like for you guys?
Sports side, I grew up playing basketball a lot. Everybody in Tacoma, we have a lot of hoopers. Everybody wants to be that hoop NBA dream. You know what I mean? So, everybody kind of played football too, just because, you travel from football season straight into basketball season. But the community in Tacoma is so small, like any athlete kind of knew every athlete, So it was just like everybody went to the YMCA and played hoops against each other. Everybody was at Stanley Park. Everybody was at Franklin Park. Just all these different places to just play sports in general. So, coming up and growing up, it's just like, it's just competitive because you want to be the best guy in the town. But it's just like, it's just that camaraderie of just being together. It's just like, so by the time everybody got to high school, you already know everybody, So it's just like,
Facts.
oh yeah, you knew he was gonna be something, It wasn't like, oh, not too many people come out the blue unless they move in, because like we've all been competing against each other for years on up, and so then, now it gets to the point now where some people choose track, some people choose basketball, some people choose football, and now where we all graduate. Now we're all in our separate sports, but we're still tuning into each other on TV. Because, we don't get so much TV time, but it's that support and that camaraderie. I think that's what makes Tacoma special, is that we all support each other no matter what.
Facts. In those early years, like, did you do AAU ball or did you do Pop Warner football?
I did football, and I did football all the way until 8th grade. And then I did AAU pretty much my whole life. I started off doing Metro Parks hoop, but then it went to AAU because I wanted to competitive. I wanted to be the best. you can't be the best playing Metro Parks. No offense, but you gotta.
No, definitely not. You gotta play competitive if you want to get there. And I remember when we were in high school, someone told me a story about you. He's like, he's pretty decent at basketball. He's a hustle player. That's all I remember. And I never saw you hoop none, but they're like, he's the guy he's gonna score, he's gonna get boards, he's gonna get steals, he's gonna try to lock you up, and that was just
defense. That's what they called me. I definitely could score, but I took pride in clamping the best player. That was it. Then I get top of my mess,
Yep. That's what's up. That's what's up. And when did you get into track?
I got into track my freshman year of high school. My grandma, she told me to give track a try. And like if your grandma tells you to try something, like why not? You know what I mean? Like why wouldn't you? But that was also the time of AAU basketball. So it's like you hop out of high school basketball, go straight into AAU. And so I was like, ooh, do I really want to do track or do AAU? And to be honest with you, I did both. In my freshman year, I did both. I was going to track practice, and then right after I was going to hoop practice as well. But that's when I started to get into track. And at first, like growing up, I was always the fastest kid in the school. I was always the fastest kid on my sports teams, whether it was baseball, soccer, football. I was always the fastest. So I knew I was fast, but it was nice to kind of put myself against other kids who claimed themselves as fast. So I enjoyed track. I wasn't the best at first, but like I had two great coaches, Ed Williams and Pee Wee. Those guys kind of taught me what track was really about. They actually taught me about running. Actually taught me about form. Obviously, I started learning more and more, but like that initial of it's more than just like getting on the track and just running. You know what I mean? So I started to actually fall in love with the sport, and I wasn't that great at first. I was one of the fastest.
He's lying. Lying.
I wasn't that great. I wasn't.
Lying.
Pretty cool, but I wasn't. I won my first couple races, but then I finally lost, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And that's
to anyone. So on my channel that I've been growing, there's people who watch this from all over.
Okay.
Because I cover track and sports from all over. To anyone who's not familiar, I'm sure I'm just gonna preface this like he's gone far in track. To anyone who's not familiar, he is lying to you. but so even like 7th grade, 8th grade, what middle school did you go to?
I went to Hunt Middle School. Yeah.
And you didn't run for the Scotties?
Yeah, I was a Scotty. Mm-hmm.
But you didn't run? You weren't on the track team?
At that time, I also focused on football and basketball. Like track was, but also track. Like if I lived in a different state, I feel like I would have done track. But in Washington, track's not really a big thing. So it's like in middle school, like nobody even suggested like, "Hey, go out for track." Like I was always like, if anybody wanted to race me at the playground, bet let's lace them up. But it's like nobody actually thought track was a sport. Nobody. So it's like I was never like, oh, okay, let me go do this because it was just never talked about. And then also the participation level of track during middle school is like very low. So it's like the track team probably had like 5 kids at that time, and it's like nobody knew about it. So it's just like for me, I was just like, nah, I'm about to go hoop. I'm about to go play football. I got to get ready to go to the league. So So middle school, nope.
Okay, I'm with you. But your freshman year, you go out for track at Foss, and I guess kind of take us through like what happens freshman year. How's it go for you?
Freshman year, track and field was pretty good. I ended up like I was playing basketball too, so I was skipping some practices because it started to get to a lot of my body. But still, I kind of just ran off talent that first year. Like I was learning what Ed and Pee Wee were teaching me, but still I wasn't taking it serious. I was just like, I'm out here. My grandma told me to do it. This is fun or whatever. But it's like, it's cool. But then obviously, like I said, I lost a race and I'm like, whoa there. All right, let me figure this out. Let me turn this up. But it wasn't enough time. And my coaches at that time said, you know what? We're just going to focus on one race and get to state. And so we chose the 400. And I was like, bet. Because the 400, it's about speed, strength, and heart. And I was like, ain't nobody got more heart than me. So I'm about to get this dub. And even though I'm a freshman, I never thought about like, oh, I'm 14 years old and I'm racing 18-year-olds. I don't think like that. It's like if we're both in the same level, like I don't care how old you are or what it is, like I'm about to torch you. That's the way I thought. And then I was able to make it to the state finals, and I got put in lane 8. So that means that I was all the way out there. I didn't have nobody to see. My coach just said, you know what? You're in lane 8. Because at this time, I don't know much about track and how to run in different lanes. He was just like, go. He said, you just run away from everybody as best you can. And I got out there. I did my best, and I took 4th. And I lost to 3 seniors. I tapped my hat off to them. They got me. And yeah, that was that freshman year. Yeah, they got me. I was sick, though. I was like, But
Hey, he was sick. Let me reiterate what you just said. He goes out for track freshman year. He ends up in the state championships and takes 4th to 3 seniors. And he was hurt about that.
I was sick.
But think about all the juniors, all the seniors that he dusted to get there.
They weren't faster than me. They were, but my mind was like, nah.
Like, nah, I shouldn't have this L.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's up. I remember you freshman year, and yeah, just looking at some of the names. Like at that time when you were a freshman, I was a senior, so I'm looking at some of the names. It's like, who's this dude? Like, why is there a 9? Grade 9 next to someone running 48. That's all we were all wondering. Why is there a 9th grader running 48s?
Yeah.
So that was it was just dope to see and definitely watch you progress over the years. So I guess how did things kind of develop? You after that first year, you can still play football. You can still play basketball.
Sophomore year was the big year. Sophomore year was the decision year for me.
Yep.
It got to a point where, so like I said, I lost to 3 seniors. So then that next year, I had a really, really good basketball season. Like I averaged 18.8 points, 6 assists. Like I was killing. I was a co-MVP of the league. Like I was doing well. So I'm like, I'm about to go to this AAU season. I'm about to like torch things. But in my mind, I thought AAU was the summertime. So I wanted to like still do track. And so I did track because I did enjoy it. And I was like, okay, 3 seniors are gone. Now it's my time to shine. Like I'm about to torch everybody on the track. So then it got to a point where I got called, like this is at the beginning of track season. I got called to go to an AAU tournament in Vegas. And I was like, ooh, like, should I go? Should I not go? You know, you're a high school kid getting invited to go to Vegas. Who's not going to go? So, of course, I went. And I didn't tell my track coaches, like, I did them dirty. I remember being at the airport and they called me. And I looked at my phone like, ooh, I'm still a high school kid. I wouldn't do this now, but I was like, should I pick this up? Nah, I ain't gonna pick this up. Like, I'm, being a stupid kid. And so then we got to Vegas in the first game, the very first minute of the game, I stubbed my toe against one of my opponents. And for those of you, anybody that don't know, if you don't have your big toe, you can't run, jump, or sprint. Like I was done. So I was done for the basketball tournament, and I was limping. I got back home, and I was still hurt. And long story short, I was out about a month to about 4 to 5 weeks. And and being in a track season, if you don't work out for 4 to 5 weeks, there's only so much you can do.
Yep.
And that was my choice. It's something that I dealt with, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm still winning state. Oh, I'm still winning. I don't care. So I was lucky enough to make it to be healthy by league. So I get through league, I get through districts, and then state. So now I'm back at the state championship. And in my mind, I'm confident as ever. I'm like, these guys aren't going to beat me. I don't care. Like, there's no way. And so I get out, and I guess at that point in time, I had a little cockiness swag to myself because I really thought that I was just that guy. And so the race goes off, bang! I get out, and I'm winning too. I'm gone. Like there's one dude by me, and he's the name I'll always remember in track and field because he probably did the best thing that could ever happen to me. Marquin Russell. So pretty much Marquin Russell, me and him, we get to the last 50 meters, we're neck and neck. And then all of a sudden, with 10 meters to go, he pretty much is like ahead of me by like a smidge bit. And he literally beats me with a lean by like the distance of my pinky. Like, damn. Oh, bro. When I tell you I was hot and he celebrated in my face, not in my face, but pretty much in my face, I was like, oh, no, this can't happen. I was so mad. But to be honest, that was a blessing in disguise because that night I couldn't be mad at anybody but myself. I chose to go to Vegas. I got hurt, and that's what deterred me from being the state champion. And it made me realize if you say you have this goal, you have to dedicate yourself to that goal. I didn't dedicate myself to being a state champion. I just said I was going to, just because I just thought I was better. And it takes a lot more. And because nobody can ever tell me, or nobody could ever look at me and be like, he's not a hard worker. I knew, regardless of what I said, every day I came to practice, I worked hard. And I just thought that was going to be enough. But it wasn't. And so tip my hat off to him. And that summer, I made a huge decision. To play a little bit of AAU basketball, but I decided to do summer track. I wanted to take revenge. Even I wasn't going to race him because he was also a football player. I wanted to do track. And so I ran for Eric Metcalf for Seatown Express. And that's when I went to the Junior Olympics. And then I took second in the 400 and our 4x4 took first. And so now things are cool again. But for me, my biggest thing was junior year. I wanted to race Marquin again. I wanted to race everybody. I didn't want to lose again in the state of Washington because I just wanted to make sure that I was still going to play basketball. But then I told myself, when I hit track season, I'm not going to touch a basketball. Not even for fun. I'm only going to stick to track. I'm only going to do track workouts. And best believe, I made sure my coaches, I was like, Coach, we got to make sure we can race Marquin every single race we can. And they made sure our schedule had that. And I raced him probably 4 times that year, but the state championship was the most important thing because now it's time for me to get over the hump.
That's dope.
And
That's
and
funny.
and I won the 400 and 200. I won the 400
Mm-hmm.
and 200 that year, and my senior year I won as well. But the thing for me
Mm-hmm.
was I didn't want to lose another race in the state of Washington. My last 2 years I didn't lose one race. I took it
So
that
you're
serious because I was
yeah,
like,
you're super competitive.
yeah, oh yeah,
Like, I yeah.
man, I this losing, no, and especially if it's my fault. And I was like, no, I can't let that happen. So I really just
And with
learned.
Marquin, was he the same year as you?
Yeah, we're the
Because he
same.
was young.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Okay.
we're the
So yeah,
same.
y'all had that ability to like, yeah,
Hmm.
I can't lose to this guy. I'm gonna see him. We want the same thing. I gotta dub him.
Yeah. Oh, I dubbed him ever since he had that state championship, and he never beat me again. But I mean, it's just what it was. But I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he would be like, "I'm a football player. I don't really care." But I was like, "I don't care."
Mhm.
Like I was a bad hooper. But when we stepped to this, like, just know it's me now. But
Damn.
he was a super cool guy though. Like I like him. But still, when it came to the track though, no friends, no friends.
And why'd you choose? So there's a lot of programs that you could have went with in, Tacoma, Seattle, etc. Why'd you go with Eric Metcalf in Seatown?
I went to Seatown just because of opportunity. Seatown travels, and I want to be somebody to race the best guys in the nation. And so a lot of the track programs around Washington, because track and field's not that big, they kind of stay more local. I was like, no, I'm trying to go to the big dance. I'm trying to go show that I'm the fastest kid in the nation. And so that's the reason they travel. I was like, I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to race the best to prove I'm the best.
Facts.
And,
No, that's one of the
and
most competitive, best programs out here.
yeah, in
Yeah.
junior year we went to nationals and I won. And I showed I'm the
Yep.
best. Like
Yep.
that was it.
So as things kind of wrap up for you in high school, who did you have any other than Marquin? Did you have any other rivals, or do you feel you just dominated everybody?
Nah, everybody else was the same. There was nobody else that I truly wanted to see again because I mean he's the one that really just stuck it on me. Everybody else is just like I wanna bust him, but it wasn't like that personal.
Yep, for sure. And then, you definitely dominated high school, Junior Olympic national champion, Washington State high school champion. All these people are calling you. You're getting letters, I'm sure, from every coach, every school. Why did you choose Oregon versus any other school that recruited you versus probably LSU, USC, UCLA? Why did you want to go to Oregon?
Well, for me, I really wanted to be with a coach. The connection with the coach was the biggest thing for me. For me, like the school, like I knew that every school was going to have the academics, so I wasn't necessarily too worried about that. It was just like, what coach is going to help me get to the next level? And what coach do I actually feel like is a father figure? What coach do I feel like I can go to when it's not just about track, if I can go to about life? You know what I mean? What team do I like have that camaraderie with? Like, what are the type of people that are on the team? Like, do I vibe with them? Do I not? Because these are people I'm going to see every single day. So there's those things for me. A lot of people think it was just because it was close to home. No, it wasn't that. It was really Coach Johnson. He's somebody that's just more than just a coach to me. He's a father figure. He was there for me, and he believed in me. I had a terrible freshman year. He still looked at me and said, "I believe in you." You know what I mean? And so I was on scholarship, and it's a business. So it's like if your scholarship guys aren't doing well, like you're supposed to get mad at. You know what I mean? But he wasn't tripping. He wasn't stressing over it. He was just like, "We're gonna get over this hump." So that was a great decision, and I'm sure there's other coaches too that do the same thing. But for me, it was between him and Johnny Gray. Yeah,
Who's that?
Johnny Gray was the coach at UCLA, and UCLA was probably my best official visit by far. By far. Like Johnny Gray, like he did real well. But it's just Johnson just was the calling. And also Johnny Gray ended up going to UCF that year and being the head coach of the women's program. So it's like it was kind of a blessing in disguise of just like I made the right decision because Johnny ended up leaving anyways. But
Yeah. Yep, definitely. It was meant to be, and that's what's up. I didn't necessarily know what your answer was going to be, but I don't know if I expected that because there's a lot of reasons why someone should go to Oregon. That's one of the best programs in the country
And
for as university. So
a lot of people,
I guess
a lot of people choose it because Tracktown USA. A lot of
yeah,
people, you get the clothes, you get all this stuff, which those are all bonuses for me. But that's not a decision maker. Like I'm not gonna go there just because I'm gonna look nice and clothes and get all this other type of stuff. Like that stuff will come down the line anyways if I do well. It's really about who's gonna get me to the next level, who's gonna be there for me in life in general and on the track.
that's dope. That's a great mentality. But how was it that freshman year? Because
Bro,
once again, national champion to you step on campus, and there is a slight learning curve in track and field collegiately. Although it's still just running, it's the same race, but there is that learning curve. So I guess in your own words, like what was the season like?
man, that freshman year was terrible. Woo! Like I never lifted in high school, and my body adjusting to running as much as we did, the lifting that we are doing, my body was not ready for it. So I came out of college, I came into college like the fastest high schooler in the 400 meters, but I was losing to guys that I used to beat. Like I was losing to everybody. I was getting torched. I was running slower than I was in high school, and I'm like, yo, this is like not good because obviously as a student athlete you think, oh, I'm on a full ride scholarship, like if I don't produce I'm going to get cut, so now I start putting pressure on myself, and if I wouldn't have put the pressure on myself, I probably could have ended my season better than what I did. But once I started running slow, I started putting pressure on myself. Then I started losing my confidence because everything's going wrong. And so now I'm just not confident in my race. And if you're not confident in any of your races, you're never going to run well. You have to be confident and believe in yourself, So for me, I just, yeah, it was just to a point where I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And then Pac-12 championship, this was like my lowest moment, because we had the 4x4 and I was the first leg, and I wanted to like run well for my brothers. You know what I mean? And I probably had the worst relay leg of all time. I ran so slow, bro. And I didn't even make it the 400 final. So I was fresh for the final day. And I ran so slow that we lost. But like if I would have ran just okay, we would have won because we literally lost by a nose hair. And I literally went behind the bleachers and started crying. I'm dead serious. I was bawling. And like we won the Pac-12 championship as a team. People are celebrating on the field. I'm literally bawling because I literally felt like I let my boys down. You know what I mean? I'm running terrible. I let my brothers down. It's just like everything. That was my moment of everything falling apart. So and somebody came to grab me or whatever, and I literally said I don't deserve to celebrate with you guys. Like you guys won that championship, that Pac-12 championship. I didn't do anything. I didn't contribute. I didn't score no points. Like I'm sorry, like or whatever. And that's just, I don't know, me wanting to be a contributor in a competitive spirit or whatever. But that was like my lowest point of just like everything of that season, just like boom, just hit me right then and there. But with that season ending, me being a guy that's not a quitter, my dad didn't raise no quitter. So after that season, I had an end of the year meeting with Johnson, and that's when he told me like, I believe in you. Like I literally came into the meeting. I thought he was gonna like take away my scholarship, maybe by 20%, something like that. He just said, I believe in you, and like you can go. I was like, okay. Oh, yeah. I was like, my God. But I had two decisions. After college, or after college or whatever, everybody usually goes home to like for the summertime or goes and do like have fun. I told myself I'm going to stay in Eugene, and Eugene is not a fun place like in the summer. So I stayed in Eugene. All my roommates were gone, so I literally had my place to the self, and I got a little job, a little part-time job to keep me busy. But all I did was go to work, train by myself all summer long. And I said, there's no way in hell I will ever let that year happen again. Like the year that happened, there's no way. And I was that dialed in. Like that I just have to put in the work. Obviously, I can't overwork myself, but I was like, this isn't happening again. I will not quit. I'm not going to transfer or do anything and run away from my situation. I'm going to take it head on, and I'm going to figure it out. And so, and it was literally on me. I hit up my weight coach, like, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. You got any suggestions for me? And it was literally me on my own, just grinding throughout the summer. And I didn't go home one day. I was just to myself. It wasn't the most fun summer in the world, but I kept busy and I got to it. And so then sophomore year comes, and
Yeah, what happened? What happened sophomore year?
the one thing I told myself one thing, and that's all you have to, all I did was say, get better every race. That's all I cared about. Don't worry about placement. Don't worry about times. Just when you think about times, just make sure you're getting better every race. And when I tell you sophomore year, indoors, I go out and I run like 48.9, which is, and I'm like, oh my God. I had two options. I was going to break down and be like, all right, everything I did this past summer was for nothing because I did all this work and then I just go out here and run 48.9. I'm like, high schoolers can go do that. That's what I told myself. Or I could be like, it's okay. Head down, continue to get better. And which way did I go? I went this way. Head down, keep getting better. And so every race, even though the times weren't crazy, I went from 48.9 to 48.5 to 48.2 to 47 something to a couple 47s. Then I finally ran like 46.9 outdoors. And then all of a sudden, Pac-12 championships happened. And remember what I told you, Pac-12 championships freshman year, at the end of that race, at the end of that day, I was behind the bleachers crying. So 365 days later, we had the Pac-12 championships again, and that was like I'm going to go win the Pac-12s and the 400. And I'm going to make sure our 4x4 wins. I've been thinking about this weekend for literally a year. I wasn't thinking about nationals. I was thinking about the Pac-12 championships. I was keeping it simple for me. And so I went to the Pac-12 championships, got through prelims. I was like, okay, cool. Still didn't run that fast. And then all of a sudden, I went from 46.62, I believe it was, all the way down to 45.21, second in the nation at the end of that day. And that's just I went from being ranked 60th or whatever all the way to second. And that was like my breakout moment to remind myself, you're still that guy. You're still here. And I made sure we won the 4x4. I was the anchor too. Oh, because a lot of people, some of the guys on the team, I'm not saying that we all wanted to win, but I don't think anybody knew how bad I needed to win that race. Just because I needed to redeem myself from the year before. Everybody looked past. Nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers this or how bad I did. But for me, I did. I was like, this is my pride. This is me. I need this. And there's no way I'm going to let somebody take this away. So I had that good day. And then we went to nationals and I took second at nationals. And then sky's the limit from there. Everything was started to go up.
And what was the difference? Because track it's a difficult sport. It's easy to get down. Since it's individual, the results are there. The time is there, So I guess what was the difference between that freshman year to sophomore year? Was it letting go of pressure, or what was it?
Well, the confidence. That freshman year, I had a bad race. I lost my confidence, and then everything started going downhill. My sophomore year, I had a bad race. I still believed in myself, and I continued to get better. I mean, at the end of the day, the workouts I did didn't change that much. So, I did a little bit in the summer to get my body ready for the pressure that was going to be put on that next year. But it's it wasn't that much of a change of the workouts. It was me mentally. I was mentally significantly stronger sophomore year than freshman year. I still had pressure. Along the way. I had pressure. Some of our best sprinters graduated that freshman year. So I'm that guy that's supposed to step up for the team, score points. All that pressure's still there. But for me, I mean, I'm not too worried about pressure. I can handle the big moments, but I need to be mentally strong. And it's really just, I was mentally strong sophomore year, and freshman year I wasn't. and that was the major difference.
During those times, other than Coach Johnson, did you have anybody who kind of mentored you, give you any advice, anything like that?
You know, one of my biggest mentors, the guy that's been with me throughout my whole track career, his name is Pat Boyd. He's been my rock in track and field, and he's just been there for me through all the ups and downs. You know, a lot of people are there with you when you're up, but when you're down, a lot of people fall away. And I've really witnessed that, trust me, especially in this professional level. Like, I'm like, okay, that's how it is. That's cool. But don't hit me up when I'm back on top. But Pat was always there for me. But that freshman year, I really got into a space that I would never suggest anybody do. But I went ghost. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to complain to nobody. I really just balled everything in. And eventually, within that summer of me growing back, that's when I started to reach out again and do different things because I know people are there for me. You know, I have family and friends for a reason. I didn't use them at all. I really just try to do it all myself. And a lot of people out there try to do everything themselves, don't want to see them hurt or something like that. But for me, I just kind of had to open up, get that support, and Pat was definitely one of the main people. And then my best friend, Jerron, those guys were there for me, for sure.
For sure. Okay, I see. And even throughout your collegiate career, you ran at NCAAs multiple times, placing multiple times, Pac-12 champion. You ran internationally. What was that like?
Woo! That international experience is, first off, I'll say the international experience is great. Like overseas, they love track and field over there. So every race is super fun. Whether there's 1,000 people or whether there's 40,000 people. I've been to both. They're both they're just fun. The atmosphere is different than how it is in the United States. But I was unfortunate to kind of deal with some situations that didn't put me in the best predicament to succeed. And so I had a lot of stress going on with travel issues and certain things to where I wasn't able to put my best out there overseas. And that was one thing that bothered me, is when I can't put my best out there, it's just frustrating. Because if I go put my best race and I still lose, okay, tip my hat off, I'll get back to work and I'll see you again. But it's if I'm dealing with things that's out of my control, it's just this really stinks. I want to succeed, but I'm literally being put in situations where I'm getting to a meet 30 minutes before it's supposed to happen and still being able to go around. I can't even get a full warm up in. You know what I mean? I'm literally. I'm getting told the wrong travel information, so I take the wrong train, and then things get all wishy-washy. I was just my first experience overseas was not the best. But my second tour actually went well. I had some good races. I started off in Brazil, then I flew over to Italy, and then I had a couple good races there. A couple bad ones, but then a couple good ones again. So my second tour was definitely better. But for me, I take these trips as business trips, and I want to be at the Diamond Leagues, all of them. I want to be at the top. I don't want to just continue running at the mediocre one. So, I have a lot of work to do to make sure I continue to get there. But being overseas is a blessing. So I'm very thankful, and regardless of what type of meet it is, I'm thankful enough to just be there and compete and show my talents. But I do also want to be top 10 in the world. I do also want to be number one at some point. And so I have to get into the bigger races to do that, which I have gotten the opportunities before, but I want more.
Yeah. And so that's some of your pro running, but in college, what's your most memorable race from college at the U of O?
Oh, I mean, to be honest, this is cheesy, but it's that weekend my sophomore year at Pac-12.
Okay.
That's one thing I always remember, because nobody will ever probably understand how important that day or those 2 days were to me. I was so crushed my freshman year that 365 days later, that was the most important. Yeah, I took second at nationals. Yeah, I was on the DMR. I was on the DMR team that won NCAAs. Yeah, as a whole, we won NCAAs as a team 5 times while I was there. Those moments are great and those moments are special. but nothing will ever be more than that sophomore year. It's just not. It meant so much to me.
That's real. I wasn't expecting that because, like you said, you've done so much. You've been a champion. So yeah, that means that was really a day for you, and
Yes.
and I salute that. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And once it's all said and done at Oregon, you signed with Nike. Did anyone else? Did Reebok? Did Adidas? Did Tracksmith? Did anyone else reach out to you, or was it just like I'm Nike all the way?
I kind of let Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson's the guy that pretty much handled everything for me at start before I was able to get an agent. And Coach Johnson pretty much deals with Nike, so it was kind of a thing where it was always going to be that if there was another opportunity, somebody probably would have contacted me, but I ended up not, just because that's my senior year at USA's. I didn't necessarily do as well as I wanted, so my stock went a little down. So that's why I was kind of in that boat. But Johnson was already in that connection, and Nike still wanted me at that time, so it all worked out that way.
Dope. And what's it like take us through just what's it like as a pro? Let's say me, I'm a high school kid. I want to go pro. What's it like signing with Nike?
Oh, what's it like? It's lovely. I mean, it's everything you would ask for, everything you would dream of. You get the gear, you get to travel everywhere you want for free because they cover everything. You get to be in nice hotels. You get to go compete and do what you love, and you also get to make money while you're doing it. I mean, it's everything that you would want, but you also have to understand track and field is a cutthroat sport. And when I say that, there's only 8 lanes on the track. Not everybody is going to get a lane. So you have to continue to work in order to make sure you get that lane. Like for me, like there's sacrifices that I have to make. I'm in my prime of 20, in my 20s or whatever. You know, people are making these trips to go turn up. My friends are doing men's league basketball games that I can't do. Like there's all these things that I would like to do like a normal 20-year-old or whatever, but I have to say no. Why? Because I can't risk myself getting hurt. I can't risk putting certain stuff in my body that's gonna deter me from being the fastest man in the world. You know, so kids gotta understand there's also risks involved as well. Because if you're not in that mix of being at the top, you're not gonna get that lane. And so, for me, when you become professional, it's really sacrifice. There's things you have to sacrifice if you really want to get there. You have to really love this sport. You have to really live this sport if you want to be successful in this sport. And so that's what I would say. But it is lovely. But at the end of the day, you have to stay on it. You can't just sign something and be like, oh, okay. Like the grind don't stop. You have to watch your sleep. You have to watch what you put in your body. You have to work hard every single day. There's no rest days. I mean, there's rest days, but like on practice days, like there's no like taking reps off. Like you can't just fall off for a week because somebody else is going to take over. Like that's how serious this sport is.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And when you did sign with Nike, did you continue to work with Oregon, or did you work with Pat or Coach E? How'd that kind of go?
I ended up coming back to Washington and training with Joshua Anderson and Coach and Eric. Joshua was one of my main training partners. Eric was our coach, and that's kind of how things were going down for me. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And take us through one more time. What are some of the countries that track, you've gone to through track? What are some of those memories and countries?
Man, I've been to so many places I couldn't even name off the top of the dome. But, I mean, probably the biggest race I've ever ran was the London Diamond League. That's probably one of the biggest.
Everyone loves Diamond League. People who watch this love it. So what is it like to run in the London Diamond League? Paint that picture for us.
Oh, paint the picture? Just paint yourself walking into a stadium. I mean, pretty much think of you're at an NFL game. To be honest with you, you're literally in a stadium that looks like an NFL arena, and there's actually people in the stands. I literally ran in front of 40,000+ people in the London Diamond League. You're talking about this little track is surrounded on a whole stadium, and people are drinking, loud, cheering, like you get all the stuff that you would get at a football game, but you get it as a track and field athlete. I mean, and that was crazier than NCAA's at the U of O?
Is it comparable?
Yeah, it's more crazy. I had to think about it for a second. Ooh, but I mean, I wasn't expecting like I think like when I seen the people in London, I didn't expect all of them to like cheer during races. So that's when you get that echo or whatever. Oregon, you get that echo too, but there's 10,000 people. An extra 30,000 people is just gonna sound different. It's just gonna be different. It's gonna feel different. But for me, it's like part of me wants to enjoy that moment, but part of me, like when I race, I dial out. Like I don't like. It's like I don't hear it, but like I'll relook at the race, like dang, like that was actually pretty lit. But
Yeah.
but that's kind of how it is. And I
Have you been to the new Oregon track or ran on it?
I did last year, and that did not go well for me. I mean, last year I dealt with a lot of injuries. I had a knee issue, my Achilles was hurting, and so I went to U.S. trials banged up. But off my pride, I'm like, I've been waiting 5 years for this at this point. I'm not just about to just quit. No. Now, in the long term of things, I guess like it wasn't good for me, but my pride said I can overcome, but I definitely couldn't. So I was definitely there, but I didn't have a good show out. And yeah, that's just what it is. But best believe that this year, US Trials is there again, and 2, Worlds are there again. So I got this year's redemption year.
You got to. To me, your story's kind of been up and down, at least from my perspective. Looking at it is like immediate success to lows to highs to lows. So you ready for more highs, my guy? You definitely ready for more highs.
The high is coming this year. I changed camps. I'm feeling good. Like I think I told you, I'm in Texas now. I'm in Dallas with a great coach, great training partner.
And who are you with? Race Take?
Yeah, I'm with Race Take, man. Yes, sir.
How's that been?
That was cool. I mean, for me, this isn't a shot against any coach that I've had before, but Ray is literally as serious as me. Like, I want that. Like, Ray takes this serious, and so every single day, like, he treats us like world champions, you know what I mean? And I need that push. I need that criticism. Criticize me like an Olympic champion, because that's what we're striving for. And one major thing for me, that he made this metaphor that he pretty much said, like, we're like Floyd Mayweather. Our USAs, our world championships is like our fight night. So everything that we're doing right now is literally for USAs and worlds. It's not for the races that are going to come. The races that I do before USAs is literally sparring. It's sparring to get tuned up, get ready for the big dance. So it's not something we're going to stress about. It's like we go to work on things. Obviously, you want to win in sparring. You don't want to just get knocked out, but you know what I mean? But it's like, it's sparring. He's getting us set up for the big dance, which is USA's, to get us to the bigger dance, which is World Championships in Eugene. And so I like that. I like that philosophy.
No, that's dope. I only know about him through YouTube and through his pro career, but he's done it, and a lot of people have ran at a high level. But it's different to have a coach who's like, I ran in the world championships. I ran against Tyson Gay. I trained here. I trained that. I think that's like, it gets to a point where to get to the very top, you want your coach to have that advice that is even a slightly deeper than training. Like, it can come down to, because it's also a mental game. It's also how's my hotel room and all that. So I think having someone who's been there, it's good guidance, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, you're going to go out this year. You're going to have success. You're going to go to Worlds, and we'll probably see you in the Olympics. I'm saying that we'll see you in the Olympics 2024, but outside of track, when it's all said and done, what do you want to be known for? What are you going to do?
What am I going to do, or what am I going to be known for? I mean, for me, what I want to be known for, I want to be known for I live by like three G's: grit, gratitude, and giving. That's kind of like my little saying. The grit shows that I'm just a hard worker. Like, anybody that's ever seen me work out, that I put in the work. You know that I grind and I deserve what's mine. You know what I mean? The gratitude piece is for me being thankful for those that are surrounded with me, those that help me along the way. You know what I mean? And then also the giving is me being somebody who loves to give back. I mean, while I was living back at home, I gave back to my Tacoma community as much as I could. But also, I want to be somebody who just you look at as those things overall in one: a grinder, that gratitude, and then that giving, because I still want to give back some type of way. So when it is all said and done, I will find a way to give back to the track community, the Tacoma community, and just Pacific Northwest.
Dope. And elaborate on some of that giving. Like, I know you've done some stuff so far, but let the people know about like some of the donations and things that you've made.
Well, yeah. I mean, me and some of my friends, we started a basketball program. Every December for Christmas, we do a little toy drive. We gave about, I don't even know how many gifts, but a lot of gifts this summer. And even though it's COVID, we had to drop them off at the school. Couldn't actually give them to the kids, but still finding ways to give those who are unfortunate to not have much. And then for me, I speak at schools, so I do speaking engagements. So if any school would be willing to have me come on board and speak to your students about chasing your dreams, about education. I was the first male in my family to graduate college, so I can talk about that journey as well. It's just finding ways just to inspire young kids, to have them understand they can be whoever they want to be. Because at the end of the day, I'm no better than them. I'm just a little bit older with more experiences in life. So at this point, if I can do it, they can too. And I'm still striving to this day for my dream. I haven't got there yet. So if I ain't stopping, they shouldn't either. So that's kind of how that is.
Yep. Dope. Hell yeah. And before we head out, I know you've given us so much game and so much advice, but just leave the young guys.
Power to leave the young guys and gals out there in the world. I've said it already in this, so it's nothing new, but believe in yourself. That is literally the most important thing, that belief and that confidence in yourself, because throughout your journey, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. Nobody's perfect to where everything's just always up. There's also going to be people that tell you things, and you can either let it affect you or you can let it go and continue to believe in yourself. And I just believe throughout all the bumps and hurdles that you might go through, as long as you believe in yourself and have that confidence, regardless of the situation, you'll be able to overcome.
For sure. We appreciate that. That's great advice. And then just one last thing. Where can we watch you? How can we support
right
you
now?
this season, next
for me,
season?
just follow my Instagram, Marcus Chambers 400. I plan on posting not just race footage, but like links to how you can watch me when I do start racing again. And I really feel like I should be more active on that to kind of let the world know what I'm doing, to be able to tune in and support. Yeah.
Dope. Y'all heard him. Marcus Chambers 400. Make sure to give him that follow. Marcus, I just want to thank you for coming on. You're truly an inspiration as well as just a flat out champion. So
hey, appreciate
once again,
it, my brother.
I want to
Thanks
thank you, and you got so much more in store.
Cool.